Hello there. Welcome to another peaceful journey with stellar sleep stories. I'm so glad you're here with me tonight, settling in for something truly special. You know, there's a question that's been floating through human minds for thousands of years. One that children ask with wonder and adults sometimes forget to ponder. Why don't clouds fall down? These massive floating oceans in our sky, some weighing as much as 1,000,000 elephants, just drifting peacefully above us, never tumbling to earth. Tonight, you're going to discover the answer in the most intimate way possible. Because you're not just going to learn about clouds, you're going to become one. And you know what? If this journey brings you some peace tonight, if you find yourself drifting into that beautiful space between waking and sleeping, I'd be so grateful if you gently tap that like button. It really helps other restless souls find these stories. And if you'd like more of these cosmic adventures, maybe consider subscribing. There's a whole universe of peaceful journeys waiting for you. I'd also love to hear in the comments what helps you drift off to sleep. Is it the sound of rain, the thought of floating, or maybe just knowing you're part of something infinitely larger? But there's no pressure at all. We're simply here together, sharing this quiet moment, letting the day fade away. Now, let's get you comfortable, wherever you are right now. Just let your body sink a little deeper. That's it. Feel how the surface beneath you is holding you, supporting every part of you. Just like how the atmosphere holds those clouds we're wondering about. Take a breath with me. A nice, easy breath in through your nose, feeling your chest gently rise. And now let it go, letting everything soften. Your shoulders, they've been carrying so much today. Let them drop, let them rest, and your jaw. Sometimes we don't even realize we're holding tension there. Let it loosen. Let your tongue rest gently in your mouth. Feel yourself becoming lighter, more fluid, like water itself. Because that's what you're about to become. In just a moment, you're going to begin an eternal journey, one that's been happening for billions of years and will continue long after the stars themselves have changed. You're going to become a single molecule of water, starting in the vast, dark depths of the Pacific Ocean, and you're going to rise, transform, float, and understand exactly why clouds never fall down. Right now, in this very moment, you're deep beneath the Pacific waves, 5,000 feet below the surface, where sunlight has never touched you. You've been here for centuries, maybe longer, drifting in the eternal darkness, part of an ancient current that circles the entire planet. The pressure here is immense, over 2,000 pounds per square inch. But you don't feel it. You're perfectly at home in this liquid world, surrounded by billions upon billions of other water molecules just like you, all moving together in a slow, hypnotic dance. The water around you is cold, just a few degrees above freezing. And it's been this temperature for as long as you can remember. Time moves differently down here. Years pass like minutes, decades like hours. You're part of something called the thermohaline circulation. Though you don't need to remember that name. You just need to know that you're part of Earth's greatest river. A river that flows through all the oceans, connecting every drop of water on our planet. But something's beginning to change, very slowly, very gently, You're starting to rise, not quickly. Nothing happens quickly in the deep ocean, but over months and years, you're spiraling upward, following ancient pathways carved by temperature and salt, by the spinning of the earth itself. As you rise, the pressure around you gradually lessens. The darkness begins to soften, and somewhere far, far above, sunlight is waiting to transform you. You're about to discover something beautiful, something that explains not just why clouds float, but why Earth itself breathes, why rain falls, why rivers run, and why every drop of water on our planet has been on this same journey countless times before. You're going to experience the water cycle not as an observer, but as a participant, feeling every transformation, understanding every force, becoming part of the most peaceful, perpetual motion in all of nature. So let yourself drift with me now. Let your mind become as fluid as water, as light as vapor, as peaceful as a cloud on a summer afternoon. Because your journey is just beginning, and by the time we're finished, you'll never look at clouds the same way again. You'll know their secret, you'll understand their magic, and you'll carry that knowledge with you into the deepest, most restful sleep. You've been waiting here in the darkness for so very long, centuries perhaps, maybe even millennia. Time loses all meaning when you're a water molecule in the deep Pacific. Down here at 5,000 feet, you're part of an ancient community. Trillions upon trillions of molecules, all pressed together in the eternal cold. The temperature hovers just above freezing, about 39 degrees Fahrenheit, and it's been this way since long before humans walked the earth. You're not alone in this darkness. Far from it. You're surrounded by the most patient travelers on our planet. Some of the water molecules near you fell as rain on dinosaurs. Others were once part of Arctic glaciers that melted 10,000 years ago. A few of your neighbors have been down here since the Pacific Ocean was young, billions of years ago when the Earth's continents looked nothing like they do today. Each molecule has its own story, its own endless journey through time. The darkness here isn't empty. It's full of life you can sense but barely see. Bioluminescent creatures drift past like living stars, their bodies creating brief blue-green sparks in the eternal night. Giant squid glide silently through the water, their movements creating gentle currents that rock you back and forth, back and forth. The pressure that would crush any surface creature feels like a gentle embrace to you, holding you safe, keeping you stable. You're part of what oceanographers call the deep water mass, but that scientific name doesn't capture the magic of what you really are. You're part of Earth's memory, Earth's circulation system, Earth's way of distributing heat and nutrients around the entire planet. Right now, you're carrying traces of minerals from underwater volcanoes near Hawaii, microscopic particles from the seafloor near Japan, and dissolved gases that last touched the atmosphere when Vikings sailed these waters. But here's something beautiful. You're beginning to feel a change. It's subtle at first, so gentle you might not even notice. The massive current you're part of is starting to curve upward, following the western edge of North America. You're caught in something called upwelling, where deep, cold water rises toward the surface. It's happening because winds thousands of feet above are pushing the surface water away from the coast. and you're rising to take its place. As you rise, inch by inch, foot by foot, the pressure around you slowly decreases. It's like taking off a heavy blanket you didn't even know you were wearing. The water molecules around you have a bit more room to move, to dance, to vibrate with increasing energy. You're still cold, still in darkness. But something is definitely changing. You can feel it in the way your molecular bonds quiver just a little bit more. 3,000 feet below the surface now, still rising, still part of this ancient upwelling. The darkness isn't quite as absolute anymore. There's the faintest suggestion of something above. Not light exactly, but the memory of light, the promise of light. Marine snow drifts past you. Tiny flakes of organic matter falling from the sunlit world above. Each flake a reminder that there's another realm up there, a realm you're slowly approaching. You pass through a layer where the water suddenly gets a bit warmer, then colder again. These are the ocean's thermoclines, invisible boundaries between different water masses, like borders between ancient kingdoms of the sea. Each layer tells a different story. Water from different parts of the world, different depths, different times, all mixing and separating in an endless, slow-motion ballet. The creatures around you are changing too. The deep-sea fish with their glowing lures are gone, replaced by silvery, schools of lanternfish that migrate up and down, following a daily rhythm as old as life itself. They rise toward the surface each night to feed, then descend back to safety each dawn. You're moving too slowly to follow them, but you feel their movements, tiny pressure waves that ripple through the water. 2,000 feet now, still in darkness, but it's a different kind of dark, softer somehow, more blue than black. The pressure is half what it was in the deep, and you're beginning to feel something you haven't felt in centuries. Warmth. Just the tiniest hint of it, filtering down from that bright world above. Your molecules are starting to move a bit faster, vibrate with more energy. It's still subtle, still gentle. But you're awakening from a very long sleep, 1,000 feet below the surface. And now you can definitely sense the sun. Even down here, where human eyes would see only blackness, you can feel its influence. The water temperature has risen to about 45 degrees Fahrenheit, still cold by surface standards. But compared to where you've been, it feels almost tropical. Your molecular structure hasn't changed. You're still H2O, still the same water molecule you've always been. But you're moving differently now, dancing with more enthusiasm, 500 feet, and the world is transforming around you. Sunlight, actual sunlight, is beginning to penetrate. It's deep blue down here, the red and yellow wavelengths absorbed by the water above. But it's light nonetheless. Real photons that have traveled 93 million miles from our star, passed through Earth's atmosphere, and made it this far into the ocean, just to warm you. The plankton around you are photosynthesizing, using that precious sunlight to create food from nothing but water and carbon dioxide. You brush past their microscopic bodies, each one a tiny factory converting light into life. Some of these plankton will be eaten, becoming part of the food chain that feeds the entire ocean. Others will die and sink, joining that marine snow that falls eternally into the deep. You're approaching the euphotic zone now, the sunlit upper layer of the ocean where most marine life thrives. It extends from the surface down to about 600 feet, and you're almost there. The water around you is alive with activity. Tiny copepods dart past. Jellyfish pulse through the water. Schools of sardines flash silver as they turn in perfect unison. 300 feet, 200, 100. The pressure is almost nothing now compared to where you started. The water is warm, maybe 55 degrees, and getting warmer with every foot you rise. You can feel the energy building, not just in you, but in all the water molecules around you. Everyone is moving faster, vibrating more intensely. Some of your companions are beginning to break free from the liquid bonds that hold you all together, 50 feet from the surface, and you can see it now. That shimmering boundary between water and air. It looks like liquid mercury from below, constantly moving, constantly changing. Waves roll across it, creating patterns of light and shadow. Each wave is collecting energy from the wind. Energy that started with the sun warming the atmosphere unevenly, creating pressure differences, creating wind, creating waves, creating the very forces that will soon lift you into the sky. 20 feet, 10 feet, 5. The surface is right there, so close you can feel the air beyond it. You're vibrating faster than you have in centuries. Your molecular bonds straining, loosening, ready to break free. And then, in a moment that's been building for hundreds of years, you reach the surface. The sun hits you directly for the first time in millennia. Its warmth floods through your molecular structure, adding energy, adding movement, adding the power you need for the next phase of your eternal journey. You're no longer trapped in the liquid embrace of the ocean. You're at the boundary, the intersection between sea and sky, and you're about to discover what it means to fly. The surface of the ocean is nothing like you imagined. It's not a solid barrier, but a constantly shifting membrane, a place where two worlds meet and exchange their secrets. You're bobbing right at this boundary now, sometimes fully in the water, sometimes exposed to the air above. The sun is everywhere, warming your molecular structure with an intensity you haven't felt in so long. It's about 70 degrees here at the surface. Tropical waters off the California coast. And that warmth is doing something extraordinary to you. You're vibrating now, really vibrating. Your hydrogen and oxygen atoms dancing faster and faster. The bonds that have kept you connected to your neighboring water molecules for centuries are stretching, weakening. Some of your companions have already broken free, rising invisibly into the air above. You can feel them calling to you, inviting you to join them in their aerial dance. And the sun, that magnificent star 93 million miles away, it's giving you the energy you need to answer their call. Here's what's happening, though you don't need to think about it. You just need to feel it. The sun's photons are striking you with exactly the right amount of energy. Energy that gets absorbed into your molecular bonds, making you move faster, making you lighter, making you ready to fly. Scientists call it the latent heat of vaporization, but you just know it as freedom, as transformation, as the moment when you stop being liquid and become something else entirely. The ocean around you is doing this constantly. every second of every day. About 1,000 trillion water molecules are making this same transition, breaking free from the sea and rising into the sky. It's been happening for 4 billion years, ever since Earth's oceans first formed, and it'll continue until the sun itself grows old. You're part of something eternal, something essential, something that makes life on Earth possible, and then it happens. One moment you're part of the ocean, the next you're not. The bonds holding you to the liquid water finally break, and you're free. You're water vapor now, invisible, weightless, rising. The transformation is instant, but it's been building for hours, days, years. All that solar energy accumulated, all that warming, all that vibration, leading to this single moment of release. You're in the air now, truly in the air, and everything is different. You're still the same water molecule, still H2O, but you're moving through space instead of being cramped together with trillions of others. There's so much room up here, so much freedom. You can zip in any direction, bounce off air molecules, spin and tumble without restriction. It's like being released from a crowded room into an infinite meadow. The air around you is full of other molecules, nitrogen mostly, about 78%, and oxygen, about 21%. There's a bit of argon, some carbon dioxide, and scattered here and there. Other water molecules just like you, all recently escaped from the ocean below. You're invisible to human eyes now, completely transparent, just another component of the atmosphere. You're rising because you're warm, and warm air rises. It's that simple and that magical. The sun-heated air near the ocean surface is less dense than the cooler air above, so up you go, carried by invisible currents called thermals. These columns of rising air are like elevators to the sky, lifting you higher and higher without any effort on your part. You just ride them, drifting upward at about 3 feet per second. As you rise, something interesting happens. The air pressure decreases, just like it did when you were rising through the ocean, but much more dramatically. At sea level, the atmosphere is pressing down with about 14.7 pounds per square inch. But for every 1,000 feet you rise, that pressure drops significantly. And as the pressure drops, the air around you expands, and as it expands, it cools. 1,000 feet above the ocean now, and the temperature has dropped about 5 degrees. You can see the coastline stretching north and south, beaches and cliffs and highways winding along the shore. But you're not stopping. The thermal carrying you is strong, fed by the warm ocean below and the cool air above. You're part of an invisible river of air flowing upward into the California sky. 2,000 feet, 3,000. The temperature keeps dropping, about 3.5 degrees for every 1,000 feet. It's a law of physics called the adiabatic lapse rate, but you don't need to remember that. You just need to know that you're cooling down, gradually, steadily. And as you cool, something magical is beginning to happen. 4,000 feet above the Pacific, and you're starting to slow down. The thermal that's been carrying you is weakening, mixing with the cooler air around it. The temperature up here is about 55 degrees, much cooler than the ocean surface you just left. And you're not alone anymore. Other water molecules are gathering around you, all of them cooling, all of them slowing, all of them beginning to feel a strange attraction to each other. You see, when you were warm, you had too much energy to stick together. You'd bounce off other water molecules and keep moving. But now that you're cooling, now that you're losing some of that energetic vibration, you're starting to linger when you bump into another water molecule, starting to form weak, temporary bonds. It's like a cosmic dance where the music is slowing down, and dancers are beginning to pair up. 5,000 feet now, 50 degrees Fahrenheit, and the air is absolutely full of water vapor. All around you, invisible molecules are congregating, forming tiny clusters that break apart and reform. Break apart and reform. You're reaching what scientists call the saturation point, the moment when the air can't hold any more invisible water vapor at this temperature. Something has to give. Something has to change. But you need something to cling to. Something to start the process. And fortunately, the air up here is full of tiny particles. Microscopic bits of dust from the Sahara Desert that have traveled halfway around the world. Salt crystals from ocean spray, pollen from coastal plants, particles of smoke from a wildfire hundreds of miles away, even tiny meteorite fragments that have fallen from space. These are called condensation nuclei, and they're about to become the foundation of something magnificent. You collide with a tiny salt crystal no bigger than a bacterium, and something clicks. You stick to it. And almost immediately, another water molecule sticks to you, then another and another. What was invisible is becoming visible. What was vapor is becoming liquid again. But not ocean liquid, something new, something that floats. This is the birth of a cloud droplet, and you're right at its heart. Within seconds, hundreds of water molecules have joined you, then thousands, then millions. You're still microscopic, about 100 times smaller than a raindrop, but you're visible now, part of something larger, part of a cloud being born. All around you, the same thing is happening. Billions upon billions of water molecules are condensing onto particles, creating countless tiny droplets. Each droplet is so small, it would take 1 million of them to make a single raindrop. And here's the secret. Here's why clouds don't fall. These droplets are so tiny, so incredibly light, that the slightest upward movement of air keeps them floating. Think about it this way. A dust particle floats in a sunbeam because it's small enough that air resistance overcomes gravity. Your cloud droplet is the same. The tiniest updraft, even air moving upward at just 4 inches per second, is enough to keep you suspended. And the air is always moving, always churning, always creating those gentle updrafts that hold clouds aloft. You're now part of a cumulus cloud, one of those puffy cotton ball clouds that drift across summer skies. The cloud is still forming, still growing, as more water vapor rises from the ocean and condenses. From the ground, it looks like a solid object, but you know better. You're inside it now, and it's nothing but tiny droplets like you, all floating, all drifting, all held up by invisible currents of air. The cloud you're part of weighs about 1.1 million pounds. That's the weight of about 100 elephants, or a fully loaded Boeing 747. Yet it floats effortlessly, because that weight is spread across billions and billions of tiny droplets, each one light enough to drift on the slightest breeze. It's not magic. It's physics, but it feels magical nonetheless. 6,000 feet now, still rising, though more slowly. The thermal that created your cloud is weakening, but new ones are forming. The sun continues to heat the ocean. The ocean continues to evaporate, and new water molecules continue to rise and condense, adding to your cloud, making it taller, fuller, more magnificent. From inside, your cloud is nothing like it appears from below. It's not solid or stable, it's constantly changing. Droplets forming and evaporating, rising and falling, swirling in complex patterns that should make your head spin if you tried to follow them all. You're riding these currents, sometimes lifted higher, sometimes drifting sideways, sometimes falling a bit before being caught by another updraft. The top of your cloud is now reaching 7,000 feet, where the temperature is below 45 degrees. The cold is making more and more water vapor condense, and something beautiful is happening. The condensation itself is releasing heat, the same latent heat that the sun put into you when you evaporated. This heat warms the air inside the cloud, making it rise even more, creating a cycle that feeds itself. Growth creating warmth, warmth creating lift, lift creating more growth. You're floating now, truly floating, part of this impossible ocean in the sky. And the view from here is something humans rarely get to experience. You can see the Pacific stretching endlessly westward, its surface glittering with a million diamonds of reflected sunlight. To the east, the California coastline curves away, beaches and cities and mountains all visible from your elevated position. You're part of a cloud that looks so solid from below. Yet you know the truth. You're just mist, just billions of tiny droplets catching the light. Let's talk about this weight for a moment. This 1,000,000 pounds of water floating above everyone's heads, because it's one of nature's most beautiful illusions. Your single droplet weighs almost nothing, about 1/1,000,000th of a millionth of a pound. You're so light that if you tried to fall, the air itself would catch you, like trying to drop a feather in a gentle breeze. It just won't happen. The air molecules beneath you are constantly bouncing upward, hitting you from below, keeping you suspended. It's like this. Imagine trying to drop a ping pong ball through a powerful fan blowing upward. The ball just hovers there, dancing in the airstream. That's you right now, except the fan is the sun-warmed earth, constantly creating those invisible updrafts, and you're infinitely smaller and lighter than any ping pong ball. You don't need a powerful wind to stay up, just the gentlest whisper of rising air. The cloud around you is growing wider now, spreading out like spilled cream across the sky. New droplets are constantly forming as more water vapor rises and cools, while others at the edges are evaporating back into invisible vapor. It's a constant cycle of creation and dissolution. The cloud isn't a thing so much as it's a process, a visible moment in water's endless journey. You drift deeper into the cloud's heart, where the droplets are packed more densely. It's like being in a fog, but a fog that's floating thousands of feet above the ground. The sunlight filtering through creates the most extraordinary effects. Every droplet acts like a tiny prism, splitting the light into colors, though from inside you mostly see a soft, white glow. a luminescence that seems to come from everywhere and nowhere. Your droplet is slowly growing. Other droplets bump into you and sometimes merge, becoming one larger droplet. This is happening throughout the cloud. Droplets colliding, combining, growing. But even as you grow, you're still far too small to fall. You'd need to be about 1,000,000 times bigger to become a raindrop, and that's not happening today. Today you're just floating, drifting, carried by winds that are beginning to push you inland. The physics keeping you aloft are so elegant, so simple. Yet they took humans thousands of years to understand. Terminal velocity. That's the key. Every object falling through air reaches a speed where air resistance exactly balances gravity. For a bowling ball, that's over 100 miles per hour. For a feather, maybe 1 mile per hour. For your tiny droplet, it's about 1 centimeter per second, slower than a snail's pace. And the slightest updraft, even air warmed by a parking lot, is moving faster than that. You can feel the mathematics of it even if you can't calculate it. The drag force on your spherical droplet increases with the square of your speed, while gravity's pull stays constant. So you can't fall fast. It's physically impossible. You've reached an equilibrium, a perfect balance between the earth trying to pull you down and the air holding you up. This is why clouds look like they're floating still even when they're full of motion. Every droplet is in its own perfect balance. The cloud you're part of is now a full cumulus, one of those picture-perfect clouds that children draw, flat on the bottom where the condensation level is, puffy and cauliflower-like on top where the thermals push upward. From inside, though, it's anything but simple. You're riding updrafts that spiral and twist, creating vortexes within vortexes. It's like being inside a slow-motion tornado made of mist. 8,000 feet now. The cloud top is approaching 9,000. Towering like a mountain of cotton in the sky. The temperature here is near freezing, and some of the droplets around you are starting to do something remarkable. They're turning to ice, not all at once. Water can stay liquid well below 32 degrees when it's pure and in tiny droplets. But one by one, droplets are crystallizing, becoming tiny ice particles that sparkle in the filtered sunlight. You're still liquid, supercooled, but liquid, dancing on that edge between states of matter. The ice crystals around you are growing differently than liquid droplets. They're pulling water vapor straight from the air, growing by deposition rather than collision. It's another kind of physics, another kind of balance, and it's happening all around you in this floating ocean. From down below, from the beaches and cities, your cloud looks peaceful, serene, barely moving. But you know the truth. Inside here, it's all motion, all transformation, droplets forming and evaporating, ice crystals growing and sublimating, everything in constant flux. The cloud that existed 5 minutes ago is already different. Some of its droplets evaporated, new ones formed. It's like a river that looks the same even though the water is always changing. The wind is really taking hold now. You're moving inland at about 15 miles per hour, carried by the prevailing westerlies that blow off the Pacific. Below you, the landscape is changing. The ocean gives way to beaches, then coastal hills, then valleys filled with orchards and vineyards. You're following a path that water has taken for millions of years, from sea to land, bringing moisture to places that would otherwise be desert. Your cloud is just one in a convoy now, a line of cumulus clouds all formed by the same conditions, all riding the same winds. From space, they'd look like a string of pearls, each one a self-contained system of rising air and condensing water. From inside your cloud, you can sometimes glimpse the others, white mountains drifting through the blue. As you move inland, the landscape below is warming in the afternoon sun. The heated ground sends up new thermals, stronger ones, and your cloud responds, growing taller, reaching up to 10,000 feet, maybe 11,000. The droplets at the very top are all ice now, forming what pilots call the anvil, because the cloud can't rise any higher and spreads out flat against an invisible ceiling in the atmosphere. You're caught in the middle regions, sometimes lifted up toward the icy top, sometimes sinking toward the warmer base. Your droplet has grown through countless collisions. You're maybe 50 microns across now, still far too small to fall as rain, but bigger than when you started. You're carrying more water, more weight, but the updrafts are stronger too, still keeping you aloft. The mountains are approaching at the distance, the coastal ranges of California, and they're going to change everything. Mountains do something special to clouds. They force them upward, cooling them more, squeezing out their moisture. You don't know it yet, but your time as a cloud droplet is coming to an end. Not immediately, not suddenly, but slowly, gently, the way everything happens in clouds. Let me tell you something beautiful about the journey you're on right now. Every second, about 16 million tons of water are floating in Earth's atmosphere. That's the equivalent of about 10 billion cumulus clouds like yours, all drifting, all carrying water from ocean to land. It's been happening since the first clouds formed on Earth nearly 4 billion years ago, and you've been part of it countless times before. As you drift eastward, the sun is beginning its afternoon descent toward the Pacific behind you. The light is changing, becoming golden, making your cloud glow like honey. From the ground, people are stopping to watch, taking photos, marveling at the beauty. They don't know that inside this cloud is a single water molecule that was once in the deepest ocean, that rose and transformed and is now carrying the sea's gift to the land. The mountains are forcing your cloud upward now. It's called orographic lift, when moving air hits a mountain and has no choice but to rise. As you rise, you cool more, and more water vapor condenses. Your cloud is growing darker, heavier, fuller of droplets. The gentle cumulus is transforming into something more serious, a rain cloud, though that transformation will take its time. You can feel the change in the air currents. They're more turbulent now, more vertical. Droplets are colliding more frequently, growing faster. Some are reaching that critical size where they begin to fall, not all the way to the ground yet. They evaporate in the drier air below the cloud, but they fall a little, then get caught in an updraft and rise again. It's like a very slow, very gentle roller coaster. You're 15,000 feet up now, carried higher by the mountain's invisible push, and the world below has become a tapestry of endless beauty. The California valleys stretch out like golden blankets, dotted with the dark green of oak trees. the silver ribbons of rivers, the geometric patterns of agriculture. You're so high that cars look like ants, cities like scattered jewelry. Yet you're still floating, still held by nothing but air. The cloud you're part of has become massive, stretching for miles. Its base is dark with moisture, while its top still catches the afternoon sun. You're traveling with millions of tons of water, all suspended, all drifting eastward in this aerial river. Sometimes you can see the shadow of your cloud moving across the landscape below. A dark island sliding over hills and valleys, bringing brief coolness to everything it touches. Your droplet has been growing steadily. You're almost 200 microns across now, which sounds tiny because it is. But you're 20 times bigger than when you first condensed. Every few seconds, another droplet merges with you, adding its water to yours. It's happening throughout the cloud, this slow accumulation, this patient gathering of moisture. Some droplets near you have grown even larger, beginning that dance between falling and rising. The mountains below are doing something else too. They're creating waves in the atmosphere, invisible ripples that extend far above the peaks. Your cloud rides these waves like a ship on an invisible ocean, rising and falling, rising and falling. The rhythm is hypnotic, peaceful, like the breathing of the earth itself. Up and down, up and down, carrying you deeper into the continent. As you cross over the first range of mountains, something shifts. The land below changes character, becoming drier, more sparse. This is the rain shadow, where clouds like yours drop much of their moisture on the western slopes, leaving less for the lands beyond. But you're still heavy with water, still full of potential rain, just waiting for the right conditions. You notice other clouds joining yours, merging into a larger system. What was a single cumulus is becoming part of a blanket of clouds. Stratocumulus, they're called. Though names don't matter when you're inside them. What matters is that you're no longer alone. You're part of an army of clouds, all moving together, all carrying the Pacific's moisture inland. 20 miles from the coast now, 30, 40. The landscape below tells the story of countless clouds that have made this journey before you. The green coastal hills exist because clouds drop their rain there. The valleys bloom because clouds like yours water them. Even the redwood forests, those ancient giants, they survive on the fog and rain that clouds provide. You're part of this ancient delivery system, this connection between ocean and land. Your droplet collides with another, a big one, and suddenly you're twice as large, 400 microns across. You can feel the weight now, the pull of gravity becoming more insistent. But the updrafts are still stronger, still keeping you aloft. Though sometimes, just sometimes, you fall a few hundred feet before being caught and lifted again. It's happening more often now. This falling and rising, like the cloud is breathing. The afternoon is aging into evening, and the thermals that have been lifting you are weakening. The sun sits lower on the horizon, its rays hitting the earth at a shallower angle, providing less heat, less energy for cloud formation. Your cloud responds by settling, lowering, becoming more stable. The violent updrafts of midday are becoming gentle circulations. Below you, the Central Valley of California stretches endlessly. some of the richest farmland on Earth, all dependent on water like you. Orchards of almonds and walnuts, fields of tomatoes and lettuce, vineyards heavy with grapes. They're all waiting for rain, though not necessarily today. Maybe you'll pass over. Maybe you'll fall. The conditions have to be just right. You're part of the water cycle's grandest magic trick, turning seawater, salty and undrinkable, into fresh water that can nurture life. The salt stayed behind when you evaporated. It couldn't make the journey from liquid to vapor. So now you're pure, distilled by the sun, cleaned by your journey through the sky, ready to become rain that can water crops, fill rivers, seep into groundwater. Inside your cloud, droplets are growing larger by the hour. Some have reached 1,000 microns, a full millimeter. These giants can barely stay aloft. They fall through the cloud, collecting smaller droplets as they go, growing even larger. Some make it all the way to the cloud base before the dry air evaporates them. Others get caught in updrafts and rise again, accumulating more water for another attempt. 50 miles inland, the sun is touching the Pacific horizon behind you, painting your cloud in shades of pink and gold. From the ground, you must look magnificent, a glowing mountain in the sky. But inside, things are calming, settling. The turbulence of the day is fading into evening stillness. Droplets drift more than dance, float more than fly. You can sense a change coming. The air is different here, more humid, more unstable. Another weather system is approaching from the north, bringing cooler air, changing pressures, creating conditions that might finally bring you back to Earth. Not violently, not suddenly, but gently, the way rain should fall. Your droplet merges with another, then another. You're growing quickly now. 600 microns, 800, 1,000. You're becoming heavy, genuinely heavy. The updrafts that have held you all day are struggling now. You fall 100 feet, 200, before a weak updraft catches you. But it can't lift you back to where you were. You're in a slow spiral downward. All around you, other droplets are doing the same, growing, falling. Some are already leaving the cloud, beginning their journey to the ground. You can feel the cloud itself changing. Its base is lowering, darkening. The organized structure of the afternoon is becoming something softer, more diffuse. A cloud preparing to rain. The science of what's about to happen is beautiful in its simplicity. You've grown too heavy for the air to hold. It's that simple. The updrafts that kept you aloft when you were tiny can't support you now that you're large. You're about to discover what it feels like to fall. Really fall, after hours of floating. But first, you continue drifting. The cloud is moving over farmland that hasn't seen rain in weeks. The soil below is dry, thirsty, ready. If you fall here, you'll water tomatoes that will feed families hundreds of miles away. Or maybe you'll keep drifting, fall somewhere else, become part of a river, eventually returning to the sea. The possibilities are endless, and all of them are perfect. Your droplet is nearly 2 millimeters across now. That's huge for a cloud droplet. You've grown 1,000 times larger than when you first condensed. You're made of millions of water molecules, all clustered together, all about to take the plunge together. And you're right at the center, the same molecule that rose from the deep Pacific, that transformed into vapor, that condensed into cloud, about to complete another phase of your eternal journey. The evening air is still, peaceful. The winds have calmed. The thermals have died. Your cloud hangs in the sky like it's suspended in amber, waiting, preparing, gathering its courage for what comes next. And you're ready. You've been ready for hours, maybe for centuries, ready to fall, ready to return to Earth, ready to continue the cycle that never ends. Something triggers it. Maybe a slight cooling of the air, maybe a collision with one more droplet, maybe just time. But suddenly you're falling, really falling, not the gentle drift of before, but actual falling. The cloud base is below you, then behind you, then above you as you descend into clear air. The sensation is extraordinary. You're accelerating, feeling the rush of air around your spherical droplet. But almost immediately, air resistance kicks in, slowing you, stabilizing you. You reach your terminal velocity, about 20 miles per hour, and that's as fast as you'll go. Fast enough to reach the ground, slow enough to be gentle. You're a raindrop now, officially. No longer a cloud droplet, but precipitation. You can see other raindrops around you, all falling together, like a bead curtain descending from the cloud. The evening light catches you, makes you sparkle. Each drop a tiny lens, a perfect sphere of water returning home. The ground is rushing up, or you're rushing down. It's all relative. You can see individual trees now, buildings, roads, the detail becoming clearer every second. You're aimed at a field. It looks like alfalfa, green and lush even in the dry season because it's been irrigated. But irrigation water is expensive, pumped from deep aquifers. Your rain is free, a gift from the ocean to the land. 2,000 feet to fall. 1,500, 1,000. The air around you is thick with the smell of approaching rain, that distinctive scent called petrichor. It's the earth preparing to receive you. Dust and oils released by the first drops, creating that perfume that makes people stop and breathe deeply and say, "It's going to rain." 500 feet from the ground now, and time seems to slow. Everything becomes clearer, more detailed, more precious. You can see individual leaves on the alfalfa plants below, waiting to catch you, to drink you in. The farmers who tend these fields have been watching the clouds all day, hoping, waiting. And now you're their answered prayer, falling through the twilight air. You're not just water anymore. You're carrying gifts. Nitrogen compounds you picked up from the atmosphere, dissolved oxygen, trace minerals. You're bringing more than just moisture. You're bringing nutrition, life itself. Every raindrop is a care package from the sky, delivered precisely where it's needed. 300 feet, 200. The ground is so close now you can see insects flying between the plants. Earthworms beginning to emerge in anticipation of the rain. The soil itself seems to be reaching upward, ready to embrace you. It's been so long since you've touched solid earth. Centuries since you were part of the ground rather than the sea or sky. 100 feet, 50, 30. The final seconds of your fall are the most peaceful. You've accepted gravity, made friends with it. You're no longer fighting or floating, just surrendering to the ancient pull of the planet. And it feels right. feels natural, feels like coming home after the longest journey. And then, so gently, so softly, you touch down. You land on an alfalfa leaf, and for just a moment, you hold your spherical shape, a perfect pearl of water sitting on green velvet. The leaf bends slightly under your weight, tiny hairs on its surface trying to hold you. But gravity isn't finished with you yet. You roll, slowly, following the curve of the leaf, picking up dust and pollen as you go. You merge with another raindrop, then another, forming a tiny rivulet that runs down the stem. You're not individual anymore. You're part of a flow, part of a movement. The rain is falling steadily now, thousands of drops every second, turning the dry field into a glistening wonderland, each plant becoming jeweled with water. Down the stem you flow until you reach the soil. And here's where another transformation begins. The earth is so thirsty, so ready. The moment you touch the ground, you're absorbed, pulled into tiny spaces between soil particles. Some of your water molecules stay near the surface, clinging to clay particles, held by electrical attraction. Others seep deeper, pulled by gravity and capillary action into the root zone. You're in the soil now, part of the ground, and it's not what you expected. It's alive down here, teeming with life. Billions of bacteria in every teaspoon of soil, fungal threads stretching for miles, microscopic animals swimming through the thin films of water between particles. You're not just in the soil, you're part of an ecosystem. A root hair finds you, so thin it's almost invisible. Just a single cell extending from an alfalfa root. It's been waiting for water like you. Its cellular pumps activate, drawing you inside, pulling you through its membrane. And suddenly, you're not in the soil anymore. You're inside a living plant. The journey through the root is unlike anything you've experienced. You're pulled through tissues, moved by osmotic pressure, lifted against gravity by the plant's need for water. You travel through the root cortex, into the xylem vessels, those hollow tubes that act like straws, drawing water from roots to leaves. Up you go, through the stem. It's dark in here but busy. The plant is using some of your fellow water molecules for photosynthesis, splitting them apart to steal their hydrogen, using it to make sugar. The oxygen gets released, breathed out through tiny pores. Maybe that oxygen will become part of another water molecule someday, starting its own journey. You reach a leaf, high above the ground where you fell. The evening sun is almost gone, just a glow on the western horizon. But there's enough light for you to see the field stretching in all directions. All the plants drinking in the rain, all of them pulling water up from the soil. All of them breathing out water vapor, returning moisture to the air. Inside the leaf, you're held in a spongy tissue, waiting. The plant will use some of you, incorporate you into its cells, make you part of its structure. But most of you will eventually return to the air, transpired through tiny openings called stomata. It might happen tonight, tomorrow, next week. But eventually you'll be vapor again, rising again, ready to form new clouds. For now, though, you rest. You're part of the living earth, giving life to this alfalfa plant that will feed cattle, that will become milk, that will nourish children. You're part of the food chain, the energy cycle, the endless circulation that keeps everything alive. The rain continues to fall outside, your fellow droplets joining you in the soil. Some will penetrate deeper, becoming groundwater, flowing underground for decades before emerging in a spring. Others will run off, joining streams that flow to rivers that return to the sea. Every droplet following its own path, yet all part of the same cycle. As night fully arrives, the rain begins to slow. Your cloud is nearly spent, most of its moisture delivered to the grateful earth. Stars begin to appear between the dissipating clouds, each star with its own planets, some of them perhaps with their own water cycles, their own clouds that never fall down. Let's pause here in this peaceful moment. You're safe in the leaf, held by life itself. The journey that began in the deep Pacific has brought you here, to this exact spot, this exact plant, this exact moment. You've traveled thousands of miles horizontally, tens of thousands of feet vertically. You've been liquid, vapor, liquid again, and soon, vapor once more. Tomorrow, when the sun rises, it will warm this leaf, the stomata will open, and you might begin your next journey. Rising again as vapor, condensing again into clouds, falling again as rain. Each cycle the same yet different. Each journey following the laws of physics, yet somehow feeling like magic. This is why clouds don't fall. They're made of droplets too tiny to overcome air's resistance, held aloft by the gentlest updrafts, suspended between earth and sky. It's so simple when you understand it, yet so wondrous even when you do. Millions of tons of water, floating, drifting, carrying the ocean's gift to the land. You've been on this journey countless times before, and you'll make it countless times again. From ocean to cloud, cloud to rain, rain to plant, plant to vapor, vapor to cloud. An endless cycle, an eternal dance. You've been doing this for billions of years, since Earth's first rainfall, and you'll continue until the sun expands and the oceans boil away. But that's billions of years in the future. For now, there's just this perfect moment, this peaceful rest. The field is quiet now. The rain has stopped. Drops still fall from leaves, a gentle dripping that will continue through the night. The soil is saturated, the plants satisfied, the air cleaned and cooled. Everything smells fresh, renewed, alive. And you're part of it all. This water molecule that has seen the deepest ocean and the highest cloud, that has been ice and vapor and everything in between. Your story doesn't end here. It never ends. Tomorrow or the next day or next week, you'll continue. The sun will rise, warming the earth, creating those updrafts, calling you skyward once again. And you'll answer. You always answer. Because this is what you do, what you've always done, what you'll always do. You're water, the only substance on Earth that exists naturally in all three states: solid, liquid, gas. The only molecule essential to all life as we know it. The patient sculptor of landscapes, the carrier of nutrients, the temperature moderator of the entire planet. You're special, crucial, irreplaceable. But for now, rest. Be still in this leaf, in this quiet field, under these emerging stars. Let the peace of the completed journey wash over you. You've traveled so far, transformed so many times, and you did it all without effort, without struggle, just following the natural flow, the eternal rhythm. the peaceful, perpetual motion of the water cycle. The night passes so peacefully around you, hours flowing like the water you are. The moon rises, crosses the sky, sets, all while you rest in this leaf, held in the living tissue, part of something bigger than yourself. The plant breathes slowly in the darkness, its metabolism slowed, its stomata mostly closed, keeping you safe inside, keeping you still, keeping you waiting for tomorrow's sun. You can feel the other water molecules around you, millions of them in this single leaf. Some have been here for days, others just arrived with you in tonight's rain. You're all together now, all part of this plant's life. Some of you will become part of new cells, incorporated into the plant's structure, staying here for the entire growing season. But most of you, like you, are just passing through, temporary visitors in this living hotel. The stars wheel overhead, constellations that have watched water cycling for eons. Orion, the Big Dipper, Cassiopeia. They've seen oceans form and disappear, ice ages come and go, continents drift apart, and through it all, water has continued its journey, rising, falling, flowing, transforming, never stopping, never rushing, just moving in that eternal rhythm. As the eastern sky begins to lighten, so subtly, so gently, something stirs in the plant. The first hint of dawn triggers chemical changes, preparations for the day ahead. The leaf you're in starts to warm just a degree or two, but enough to begin the process. The stomata, those tiny mouths, begin to open, ready to breathe in carbon dioxide, ready to breathe out oxygen, ready to release water vapor, ready to release you. You feel the pull, the gentle suction as water above you in the leaf evaporates, creating a tiny vacuum that draws more water up from below. It's like being in a very slow, very peaceful elevator, rising through the plant tissues, moving toward those open stomata, moving toward your next transformation. The sun isn't even visible yet, just a glow on the horizon. But already its energy is reaching you, warming the air, creating those invisible currents that will carry you upward. The morning is so still, so quiet. Dew covers everything, drops of condensation that formed overnight. Some of your fellow water molecules who evaporated yesterday evening, only to condense again in the cool night air. And then, so gently, you barely notice it happening. You're through the stomata. You're vapor again, invisible again, free again, rising from the leaf surface into the cool morning air. The transformation is effortless, natural, like breathing, like sleeping, like all the most essential things in life. Up you go, just a few feet at first, hovering over the alfalfa field that sheltered you. You can see the whole farm now, awakening to the new day. Other water molecules are rising with you, transpired from millions of leaves. The field is exhaling, breathing out moisture, creating its own morning mist. The sun breaks the horizon, painting everything gold, and the warming begins in earnest. The gentle convection currents strengthen, lift you higher, carry you upward into another day's journey. You're part of the morning's exhalation, the earth releasing the night's moisture back to the sky. Higher, higher. The farm shrinks below, becomes part of a patchwork of fields and orchards. You're already at 100 feet, 200, riding thermals so gentle they're barely there, just the slightest uplift. the softest push skyward. Everything is gradual. Everything is peaceful. You pass through different temperatures, different humidities, sometimes warming, sometimes cooling. Your vapor molecules spreading apart, coming together, dancing in the morning light. Not condensing yet. It's too warm, too dry. But moving toward that moment when you'll become visible again. 1,000 feet now, and you can see other wisps of vapor rising from irrigated fields, from the damp earth, from puddles left by last night's rain. All of it rising, all of it preparing to form new clouds. The water that fell just hours ago already beginning its return journey to the sky. This is the eternal cycle revealing itself. No beginning, no ending, just constant transformation, constant movement. The same water that dinosaurs drank, that formed the first clouds on primitive Earth, that will still be cycling when the continents have completely rearranged themselves. You're part of this immortal dance. 3,000 feet. The temperature is dropping. The air becoming more humid. You can feel it. That approaching moment when vapor becomes droplet, when invisible becomes visible, when you become cloud once more. It's happened to you millions of times. Will happen millions more. Yet each time feels fresh, new, perfect. And there it is, that tiny speck of dust, or salt, or pollen, drifting through the air. You collide with it gently, stick to it, and immediately other water molecules join you. 2 become 4, 4 become 8, 8 become thousands. A new droplet is born, a new cloud beginning to form. You're part of a morning cumulus now, small and white and peaceful. Nothing like the towering cloud of yesterday. This one is gentle, almost delicate, catching the early sunlight and glowing like cotton candy. From the ground, it must look beautiful, a small puff of white in the clear morning sky. But you know the truth. This cloud is temporary, ephemeral. It might last an hour, maybe 2, before the dry air evaporates it, sends you back to invisible vapor. Or maybe it will grow, join other morning clouds, become another afternoon, giant, carry you somewhere new. It doesn't matter. Every possibility is perfect. Every path leads forward in the cycle. You drift eastward, always eastward with the prevailing winds, over mountains that force you upward, valleys that let you sink, deserts that evaporate you, forests that breathe you in. You're experiencing Earth's diversity from the inside, seeing how water connects everything, desert to forest, mountain to valley, ocean to continent. Sometimes you fall as rain, watering a garden in Phoenix, filling a reservoir in Denver, joining the Mississippi River, flowing all the way to the Gulf of Mexico. Sometimes you fall as snow, resting on a mountain peak for months, part of a snowpack that will melt in spring, feeding rivers when the land needs water most. Sometimes your journey takes you to unexpected places, absorbed by a tree root. You might become part of an apple, eaten by a child, becoming part of a human body for a while. Or you might seep deep underground, joining an aquifer, spending centuries in darkness before emerging from a spring, ancient and pure. You've been inside glaciers, locked in ice for thousands of years, moving slowly down mountains, carving valleys. You've been in the Amazon River, carrying nutrients from the Andes to the Atlantic. You've been in clouds above the Sahara, falling as rare rain on the world's greatest desert. You've been everywhere water can be, and water can be everywhere. The sun continues its daily arc, warming, cooling, creating the energy differences that drive wind, that lift vapor, that make clouds, that bring rain. It's all connected, all one system, and you're the medium through which it all works, the molecule that makes it all possible. As this morning becomes afternoon, afternoon becomes evening, evening becomes night, you continue. Sometimes as vapor, sometimes as droplet, sometimes as rain, always moving, always transforming, but never hurrying, never forcing, just flowing with the natural rhythm of the planet. This is your eternal story, the story of every water molecule, from ocean to sky, sky to earth, earth to life, life to sky again. Round and round, up and down, never ending, never beginning, just continuing, just flowing, just being. And now, as you drift in whatever form you've taken, wherever today's journey has brought you, you can rest in the knowledge that you understand. You know why clouds don't fall. They're made of droplets too tiny to overcome air resistance, held aloft by the gentlest movements of atmosphere, suspended in that perfect balance between rising and falling. You know why rain falls, droplets growing too large for air to hold, gravity finally winning, but gently, always gently, bringing water back to earth at just the right speed, just the right time, in just the right places. You know why the cycle continues. The sun provides the energy, gravity provides the force, temperature differences provide the movement, and water, wonderful water, provides the medium, the substance that can be solid, liquid, gas, that can carry nutrients, moderate temperature, sustain life. This is your story, told from the inside, felt from the inside, lived from the inside. The story of clouds that float like mountains in the sky, of rain that falls like benediction on the land, of water that rises again and again, eternal, patient, perfect. And now, dear friend, our journey together is gently, gently coming to its close. Though for the water molecule you've been, there is no ending, only continuation, only the next peaceful transformation. You've traveled with me from the darkest depths of the Pacific, risen through sunlight into clouds, fallen as rain, and risen again. You've discovered the secret of why clouds float, felt it in your very molecules, understood it not with your mind, but with your being. The story we've shared tonight, it's happening right now, everywhere. Millions of water molecules rising from every ocean, every lake, every puddle, forming clouds that drift across the sleeping world. Some are over the Atlantic right now, carrying moisture to Europe. Others float above the Indian Ocean, preparing to bring monsoon rains. Still others drift over the Arctic, falling as snow that won't melt until summer, if at all. You've been all of them. You've been everywhere, and you'll continue to be everywhere. Long after tonight becomes tomorrow. Long after tomorrow becomes next year. Long after years become centuries. The same eternal dance, the same peaceful rhythm, rising, drifting, falling, flowing. Never rushed, never forced. Just moving with the natural breath of the earth. And if you're still awake, still floating with me through these clouds of words, that's perfectly okay, perfectly natural. Some nights our minds need a longer journey, a deeper drift into peace. And you know what? If you'd like to continue, there's another story waiting for you, another gentle adventure through the cosmos. Just let the next video play. No need to reach for anything. No need to move at all. Just let it flow into the next journey. Maybe you'll travel to distant galaxies, or explore the mysteries of black holes, or discover why the moon doesn't fall down either. All told in the same gentle voice, the same peaceful rhythm, designed to carry you deeper and deeper into rest. Your mind can just float from one story to the next, like a cloud drifting across the night sky. No effort needed, no decision required, just peaceful continuation. If sleep finds you, wonderful. If you need more time, that's wonderful too. There's no wrong way to drift off, no schedule to keep. Just you and the vast, peaceful universe, sharing these quiet moments together. But wherever you are in your journey towards sleep, whether you're already drifting in that beautiful space between waking and dreams, or still gently aware, still softly present, I want to thank you. Thank you for joining me on this intimate journey through the water cycle, for becoming rain with me, for floating as a cloud. Thank you for bringing your curiosity about why clouds don't fall down, and for staying with me as we discovered the answer from the inside. It's been such a privilege to share this with you, to be your companion as you wind down from your day, to offer these words as stepping stones toward peaceful rest. You know, every time you see a cloud now, you'll remember this journey. You'll know those white mountains in the sky are made of tiny droplets, each one too small to fall, each one held aloft by invisible currents. You'll know that the cloud weighs as much as 100 elephants, yet floats as gently as a feather. And maybe, just maybe, that knowledge will bring you a moment of peace in your busy day. The night is deep now, perfect for sleeping. The world outside your window is quiet, settled, at rest. Just like those water molecules we followed, resting in leaves, in soil, in peaceful clouds. Everything in nature knows how to rest, how to pause, how to be still. And you're part of nature too, designed for this rest, made for this peace. Let your thoughts become like clouds now, soft, shapeless, drifting. No need to hold on to any particular idea, any particular worry, any particular plan. Let them all float away like vapor in the morning sun, dissolving, dispersing, becoming part of the vast, peaceful sky of sleep. Your breathing is like the tide now, in and out, as regular as waves on a beach, as natural as the water cycle itself. Each breath releasing a little more tension, each exhale letting go of the day. You don't need to control it. It knows what to do, just like water knows how to flow, how to rise, how to fall. And so, my dear friend, as I leave you to your rest, remember that you're never really alone. You're connected to every drop of water on earth, every cloud in the sky, every raindrop that falls. You're part of this beautiful, eternal cycle, this peaceful, perpetual motion that never stops, never hurries, just continues. Close your eyes now if they're not already closed. Let your mind drift like a cloud, peaceful, weightless, free. Let sleep come like gentle rain, soft, natural. Welcome. There's nothing you need to do, nothing you need to think about. Just float, just drift, just be. The the clouds will still be floating tomorrow, held up by invisible hands of air, carrying water from sea to land, continuing their eternal journey. And you'll wake refreshed, renewed, knowing their secret, understanding their magic, carrying a little piece of their peace with you into your day. Sleep now. Sleep deeply. Sleep well. Let my voice fade like morning mist, dissolving into silence, leaving only peace behind. You're safe. You're comfortable. You're exactly where you need to be. The universe is holding you just as gently as the air holds clouds, supporting you, carrying you, keeping you aloft in dreams. Good night, dear traveler. Good night, fellow drop of water in Earth's great ocean. May your dreams be as peaceful as clouds, as gentle as rain, as deep as the Pacific where our journey began. May you float through sleep as effortlessly as water vapor rises, as naturally as clouds form, as peacefully as rain falls. And may you wake tomorrow refreshed like the earth after rain, renewed like the air after a storm, ready for your own journey through the day, knowing that tonight, whenever you're ready, we can travel together again. Through the cosmos, through the clouds, through the peaceful mysteries of our sleeping universe. Sweet dreams, peaceful rest, gentle sleep. The clouds are waiting, the stars are watching, and all is well, all is well, all is perfectly, peacefully, eternally well.